Nope. Hang on.
Take two.
Take two. Well, I can't do take two.
We are Brightside. Dear.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The Home Theater Podcast, it's all about the experiences. Hello?
Hello.
I can't see or hear anything without the headphones.
Well,
What
Sights?
we're waiting for the sights from you.
Yeah.
from me?
Yeah.
You're the one that says the sights,
Oh, the sights.
the sounds.
The screams.
What did you do, Steve? I can't see.
Whoa. Yeah. Mask.
Oh.
Nobody told me about this
To be
Halloween.
fair,
Halloween thing.
yeah. Comes around every year, John.
Yeah, but,
It's
Can't you
it's like
see the? I spent literally seconds decorating the back of my.
I see.
yeah.
Yeah.
This took seconds at least.
I had this thing left over from John will remember. I can't even see my microphone here. Oops, hang on. Are we still on? Can
We are.
everybody still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to hit record. Yeah, no, I had this thing. This was, if you guys remember, back in 2020, there was a lot of jokes going around about wearing masks. So I wore this on the podcast, and that joke didn't play well. That did not age well.
No.
But yeah, I still had it. So I have the shirt, and I'm sitting around, and I was like, hey, all right, this will be a fun little, I can't see a damn thing. So how you guys doing? How's your week?
Good. Good.
Yeah,
Can't
good.
complain.
Yeah, live and kicking. Spider-Man 2 taking over my life. So well done for the
Yeah.
the mask stage. I like it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very, very
Yep.
good.
It's on brand.
Yes. It's just the problem is, as great a game as it is, the problem is that I can't then fit in anything else. So when I've got 2 minutes, half
Right.
an hour or an hour, I think, oh, film, game, film, game, and it's like game, and then don't see the film. So it's
Yeah.
driving me crazy, but nearly finished, thank goodness, because I've got so many horror films I still need to see. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, my Halloween season's going to be till kind of Boxing Day,
Right.
if not longer, probably till like
Well,
Well,
and it started back at Easter,
Valentine's
so
Day.
Easter, Easter. It's like every month. That's what I'm like. You texted that. I was like, please say that on the show. I was like, you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, you've been doing horror movies all year long. It's like we brought you on the show, and it was like, okay, time to do more horror, which is great because I was not really doing them except for October. So funny. But I still have a few left too. I never got to one of my favorites, and what you call it? Donald Sutherland.
Invasion of the Body
Invasion of Body Snatchers. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we never got to that one. So we're doing another one tonight. It'll be in next week's. It just came out, just dropped on Kaleidoscape. So it just came out. So that should be a fun one for Halloween. But let me get this thing off. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I gotta get
all
this
right.
off.
Yeah, man.
Well, you keep the shirt on.
Yeah, that's what she said. Oh man! Oh, there we go. Yes.
Oh,
All
man.
good. All good.
Okay.
So yes, it's,
Now I
just
can
so you know,
see.
guys. There's been some weird reports tonight of strange things
Really?
walking around. Yeah, we've had it in the
Things
house.
going
I
bump
don't
in
know
the
what it
night.
is.
Huh?
But
Nothing.
I mean, I haven't seen it, but apparently there's things walking around.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, if you see anything, let me know. Hopefully, there won't be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know. I won't let anything happen to you, Steve. Nothing sneak up behind you, nothing like
Time
that.
you get over
so.
here, I'm long gone.
Well, I'll
With the
just
funeral
yell.
and everything.
I'm just gonna yell.
Yeah. Hey, look out.
Hey, look out. Yeah. Oh.
Oh man, but yeah, no. So I've got so many horror films still to see, but I'm gonna keep going, as you know I will. Yeah, but just ridiculous amounts of stuff coming out. But all good, all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. We got some good horror this week. We had to trim our list. Somebody went in the complete opposite direction of Halloween.
And not the person you'd expect.
No, not at all. No, I mean, it's your horror month, and you're the one that's you've veered the most from it, which is pretty funny. It's like every week, it's like, hey, look at this. I'm playing video games too.
like to not be, put in the box.
He didn't get the memo, John.
Right. Yeah, can't be pigeonholed.
No. It's like, yeah, too funny.
Although, in fairness, John has risen to the peak of Halloweenness this week.
I have.
Absolutely, and I am kicking myself.
And he wanted to drop. I don't want to give it away till we get to it, but he's like, we could drop that one. I was like, no way.
We've kind of done it to death already. But
Yeah, we have, but it's kind of the epitome of us, of everything. And of all things, like you said, Steve, it's like that's the epitome of Halloween right now. So for us,
yeah. But as soon as that comes up, let me know. I'm going to hide under the desk, okay? Just in case there is another repeat of last time.
Yeah. Oh no! Was that one? I didn't.
It was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That's too funny. I have a pretty controversial one coming up this week too.
Oh yeah.
I think so. I really enjoyed it, but I think a lot of people can be like, "What the hell? Why?"
Oh, I have to look at the list again. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think I know. I know.
Have you guys heard the rumors? Something big's happening Saturday.
Do tell.
To be fair, yes. I think my local rugby team, Bath, are playing Northampton Saints. It's going to be a really big game. Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Well, I know what you'll be doing. Oh, I wanted to have the schedule done by yesterday. For people that don't know what I'm talking about, the 24-hour home theater podcast on Saturday, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern time. Todd is going to kick us off at 6 a.m. and he's going to finish us off at 5 a.m. Him and I will do the first hour and the last hour together. And then everything in the middle. I've got some people booked like pretty much rock solid right now. It's still in flux, as Steve knows. Things have moved. The response has been overwhelmingly fantastic. I am trying to get everybody in that asked to be in, but it's not gonna. I have 24 spots because Todd's taken the front and the back. But there's 24 hours, so 24 spots, and I have over 30 people right now. And as it looks right now, I think I might get everybody in if people can go. Because when you get down to the end, it's like, this is all I got left. Can you do that one? And if they're like, no, okay. So then you got to go to somebody else or whatever. But we're getting down there, and I knew it would be a little bit hectic trying to organize all this, but everybody's been really good. We have some people that obviously couldn't make it. And a couple reasons. I was telling you guys last week, I was like, I don't want to put the schedule out for one, in case somebody has to drop out. I don't want them to everybody be like, oh, where did he go? Or whatever. And then also, I think it'll be fun for people just to go as you go and be like, oh, somebody's like, who's this guy? What, and that'll be fun. But then of course it's a live stream, but I've had a lot of people ask me, am I going to be able to see this later? And yes, it's always available on YouTube. All our live streams are there on YouTube. All you got to do is just go to our live section and you'll see all of them there. And this is going to be one that I will go back after this is done, and I will put in the timestamps for, the guests in each hour that they were in. So then you can go back forever and just, I want to see such and such. I want to see when Steve showed up. I want to see, it'll be kind of fun.
Can we stream the whole thing for 24 hours on X, Twitter, whatever it's called?
I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I
Might
think
start it off and see, and just leave it running, and I don't
Well,
know whether we can then.
I'm
tweak
gonna
that as
have
well
like
or not.
so I am going to be creating the links tomorrow. Okay, so first I'm going to create the link for Todd and I are going to do a preview show tomorrow night. Just to we're doing our hour fireside chat, as we call it, and we're going to hang out and just talk about how this came up and stuff like that, and preview the 24-hour show. Once I do that link, then I'll create the link for there'll be 3 links for the show, so 3 8-hour segments, and then the last segment will be 9. But that way I can transition from there, and I'm going to test out. I think I can actually do it from here. I can have all 3 links going. So when I transition, I can be talking to people in both of them at the same time, I think. But that's still a logistic I have to work out. But worst case scenario, I just go over to the next one. And when you create those links, it goes with the Twitter one too. So I think on Twitter, it would just pop to the next one. So it'll always be on Twitter, so you can stream along there as well.
Well, I'll try and stream it on mine as well. So we've got multiple ones going.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, man, it's cool. Well, I mean, obviously, if the only solution though, Deej, if you've got too many people for 26 hours, is to go for 36.
I know.
I think it's the only way, isn't it, John? I mean, well, we can let's see if we can break Deej.
Yeah, just go
exactly.
longer.
It was funny. I said. That was one of my things. I kept seeing more, like I'm getting more. I'm like, all right, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do this. And I'm like, I got to draw a line. I got to draw the line somewhere. I was doing 24. Now I'm doing 25. So I got to draw the line at that. And then, but I did think it myself. And then I texted Todd and I was like, Todd, this is crazy. I'm like, I've got all this. And I was working it out with him. He goes, well, you just got to go 30 hours. That was his first reply. I'm like, that's what I thought too. But I don't think that's a good idea. So, but yeah, really looking forward to it. So it'll be fun to see who's in the chat then too. And, so, but that'll be fun. Anything? Oh, and speaking of which, I do have, as we said last week, Chris can't make the 24-hour show, but as we said, he's doing he's heading to the Bay Area at the end of November, beginning of December. That's Chris Deering, Deep Dive AV. I got the image up right now. Doing calibration tour in the Bay Area of California at the end of the month, the beginning of December. And him and I right now, we have it tentatively scheduled. He'll be on. We're going to do a live stream on the 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So that'll be up, and we're going to, deep dive into calibration and stuff, because clearly it's been a hot button topic and stuff. And so you can come on and ask Chris questions, and we'll go from there. And that should be a lot of fun, because as we've heard through the conversations, there's a lot of like misunderstandings and different things, meaning like what's good, what's bad, how do you know how to, it's crazy. So I think that would be, I think it's very topical. So what do we got? What are you laughing at, Steve?
Deej, have you been being mean to friend of the show, Carl?
Oh, Carl, how you doing, buddy? Everybody got chopped. So
I got cut, Carl.
Steve not only got chopped. Oh crap! My TV just went out for a sec. Yeah, this is going to be fun for 24 hours doing this. Steve not only got chopped from 2 to 1, but he got moved. I had to move you out because I'm taking, I'm trying to accommodate West Coast, East Coast, Europe. When I first sat down here to do a podcast 4 years ago, it's like, this was not what I envisioned. It's like, someday this is what I want to be doing. This is what I want to be doing. I love it.
Yeah. Make that hour great.
Yeah, and he will, and that's the thing. I think the crossover, everybody's asked, like, can I just come on early? Can I stay a little? Yep. 5 minutes. I'm thinking on either side. You come in a little early, I can pop you in and you can meet whoever's before you, after you, have some chats and stuff like that. And just, that's going to help me a ton too. And like I was saying to you guys before we started, I'm like, I'm seeing all these guests and I'm just like, I can't wait for each of them. And it's like, so like every hour, it's like, I think it's going to go by like that for me. So not so much for you guys, the listeners.
It's going to be 24 hours no matter what.
24 hours for 25 for everybody. But yeah, and it's, so looking forward to it. But hey, Carl, thanks for popping in. Yeah, lots in the chat. Paul,
we should say hi to the guys in the chat, shouldn't we? We've so
I couldn't see earlier.
Well, I'll say so. Mike Schramm's in, good old Mikey. Van Gool's in. Van Gool seems to think there's been some weird stuff going on in the background. I don't know what that was.
I have no idea.
Did you guys see anything?
Well, with a name like Van Gool,
he should know.
He's going to be like hypersensitive to that.
Yeah, well, quite. We never saw that. I don't know what that's all about. Scruffy's in. Hi, Scruffy. We've got VJ is in, and Carl's in, of course, and Paul Hertz just dropped in, and as I say, Carl Ellsworth as well. Good old Carl.
Yep. And if VJ never got me his address. He won the mug last week. I just realized that. So VJ, hit me up, email me that address. I'll get that out to you. I forgot all about it until I just saw your name and we're back here again. Yeah. So Greg, how you doing, buddy?
I'm surprised Carl's got time for all this. The strike's over. I can imagine his fingers furiously typing on the keyboard.
Yeah. Wow. To be fair, Carl's a bright guy. I'm sure he's been writing away the whole time. He just can't do anything with it. And now he's just got these stacks of money makers surrounding him.
Don't say that.
I'm still waiting for the screenplay that Carl's going to do of 3 plucky podcasters. That talk home theater and get up to all kinds of hijinks.
Yeah,
two plucky podcasters and 1 courageous attorney,
defense lawyer.
Yeah.
Hey, we need that screenplay. That we do need. That's got to be done. Yeah. And come to blows over Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, jeez. Hey, Nelson, how you doing, buddy? Nelson just dropped in. Carl just dropped in. Carl with a K. And he said, Carl's saying, sadly, we are on the road, so we'll miss all the fun over the weekend. But as I just said, you can always catch it in reruns. We're going to be syndicated.
I'll see what I can do on that, Paul.
Paul, no. Halloween's today. We don't need more bloodletting at the weekend.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. How did you do that, John? What were you just chopping away, getting all excited?
Slicing a piece of meat, and it slipped out. It was greasy. It slipped out of my finger, and the knife.
So you just kept cutting?
I just kept cutting. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep on going.
Yeah.
Walking wounded.
Yeah.
Oh man.
VJ, I got cropped from 0 hours to 0 hours.
Oh.
So there you go.
Dang.
Well, did you email me? I don't remember. I may have misplaced some people too. That's the other thing that stinks. So hopefully I didn't misplace people, but if I did, I apologize.
Will there be people going, I cede my time to the honorable gentleman of whoever it might be?
Yeah.
Just bring others in.
I'll cede sometime. I'll be back. Let's see. What do we got else? What else do we have going on around here? Where are we are we ready to get to? Nope, we're not doing that one. There we go. Are we ready to get to our home theater experiences? Is there anything else we need to talk about? Thank the patrons. Thank you very much. I kind of dropped the ball on them the other day. I tried to stream my recording of today's Takeover Tuesday that I do. So I'm like, hey, I'll invite them in, and if they make comments, I'll talk about it, put it in the show. And I'm sitting here, and up in the top corner, I'm like, 0. I'm like, oh, okay, everybody's busy. Okay. Nobody. I get off, and right away, Mikey Schramm's like, I tried to get in, but it wouldn't let me, and I had set it to the wrong setting, so it was private. Nobody could get in. I talked and the funny thing is because nobody was in there, I'm just sitting there like this. So it's like they still have access to it, and there's like 13 minutes of dead air, me just looking around, probably picking my nose, forgetting what I'm doing. And I'm like, so yeah, you got some.
That's all you were doing. then you've got to
yeah, well,
Yeah.
well.
but yeah, I did go back in that, and I told everybody just skip to the 13-minute mark, you'll see. Like, but yeah, so, but yeah,
We've got
so a
new
lot of
chat
fun
here
stuff
as well.
going on there. Ian,
Yeah,
Ian,
yeah.
Hi,
Looks
Ian.
like he's from the UK with a Union Jack. Oh, sorry, the
or he's a
Union.
big fan, a big
Yeah,
fan
well,
of the UK.
Yeah, that's it. Just that could be.
Could
But,
be.
yeah, hi Ian. Welcome along.
Yeah, hi Ian.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the chat. Yeah, so thank you to our patrons. Thank you to all the people support us. Thank you to the YouTube members too. We got off the show last week. We thought we only had 2. We had Greg and Chris, and then we had one more add in that didn't talk, didn't say anything, so we didn't know. And then I happened to go on and I looked, and where is it? I should be able to find who it was. Yeah, I'll find it. I forgot where it was. I gotta grab it. But so yeah, we have
No,
3,
you
so you
sent
can
it
do
to-
that. Did I send it to you guys?
Yeah, I'll find it while you're talking.
Okay.
What's
Um,
that, the running order?
Members, yeah, the YouTube members. So you can support the podcast by becoming a YouTube member, and you get a fancy little icon. Waiting for
Well,
trick or
it's-
treaters.
Yeah,
Oh,
is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning out there today? Is it?
It's supposed to
I
be
guess so.
today,
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
get it till Monday. Oh, immediately.
Oh,
jealous.
you don't? Yeah, you don't get it till Monday. Yeah.
No, not till
Did you
Monday.
see the conversations going on with it? With I think it's Ralph and Mike from AV Nirvana. Michael's. He had his PB. I think he has PB. Yeah, it must be PB. PB 3000s, dual PB 3000s in a 12 by 14 room that he runs hot. Like, now that's a lot, right? And he said they were port chuffing on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. He said it is a base beast, and it is. Mine weren't port chuffing. But I don't run mine hot. But yeah, it is a fun experience. Yeah, well, go ahead, John.
Port
You don't have to raise
chuffing?
it.
Like,
It's when you're like, if you run it hot, like if you'd have to have ported subs, but it's like, Rob could do a better job of explaining it, but it's like it can't get in enough air fast enough to make it,
okay.
because the ports are like dispersing the air, and you'll hear this like it's a weird shuffing noise that
I
your
have ported
sub will
subs,
do.
but I've never
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
It takes a lot to do it, and that's why it was such a fun conversation.
before we get too far, Joe Wires.
There we go.
Was the
Thank you.
additional-
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Gurinder, happy Halloween, Gurinder, and yeah. So
I know I'm looking forward to Dead Reckoning, but we don't get it till, as I say, till Monday. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Along with Trading
really good.
Places and Scrooged on Monday as
nice.
well over here
nice.
in 4K, so that'll be quite good.
Yeah.
But horror first, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We ready to get to our real HT experiences?
Yeah,
Sure
do
thing.
this.
We've got a few. Yeah, I keep meaning to shorten that.
Oh, I guess I got bumped up to first, huh?
Yeah, you're up on it. Yep, you're up. I think I'm on deck. I don't know, but yeah, something like that. We'll see
All
as
right.
we go.
Yeah.
There
so I
you
had
go,
to-
John. Take it away.
Yeah, I had to get back into the Monarch verse this week because I've got
Yeah.
two more movies. So this week I watched Kong Skull Island. This was 4K UHD disc, Dolby Atmos. So if you remember previously, I talked about the two Godzilla movies, and I thought this movie was better than both of them when it comes to the home theater experience.
Oh,
I
really?
thought, yeah, I thought, like Godzilla had a lot of like his kind of screech, and it had a lot of that, but
Yeah.
Kong has the roars, and that really set the subs to thumping. And I thought this thing was fantastic. I thought it looked great. It sounded awesome. Great movie. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I forgot that this was kind of like an Avengers reunion movie. I don't know where this slots into the MCU, but I mean, we had Captain Marvel, we had Fury, we had Loki. So
Yeah.
it was like
I forgot that too.
Yeah,
It's a good
Endgame
point.
0.5, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, great experience. I thought, like I said, the bass was really heavy, and and it looked fantastic. So, good one.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like. Sorry, go on, Dave. Sorry, mate.
No, I was just going to say, I had a question this week. I mentioned it in today's Takeover Tuesday. Somebody had asked, I apologize, I forget who it was. If Steve and John didn't have their names right under them, I'd forget them too. But somebody had asked, like, John, are you going to get back in? This is for John. It was on YouTube. Are you going to get back into this? Yeah. Are you going to get in preparation for Monarch coming up later this month? That's coming out like what, the 19th or 20th or something?
Yeah, like
that?
2 more weeks. So I've only got one. The last movie is Kong versus Godzilla, which again I've seen before, but I'm going to go back and revisit it sometime, probably next week before the show gets ready to start. But yeah, looking forward to it. Again, I've seen that movie, but I haven't seen it on my current setup. So I'm interested to see. I expect that one to be the spectacle of all the spectacles.
Yeah,
when it comes to these.
Well,
so,
it's I mean it's like an HDR spectacle. It's an Atmos spectacle. It's like it's just so much. That end scene in the is it Tokyo or wherever they are with or Hong Kong or with the neon and everything. Oh my God, it just looks. That's an awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
spoilers.
Yeah,
didn't mean to ruin it for you.
It's got a big lizard in it and a big monkey.
Yeah, a monkey and a lizard.
Spoilers.
And too many people, really. Like, all you really want out of that movie is Kong and God. This could have been 28 minutes long, and if it was just Kong and Godzilla just duking it out for 28 minutes, that would have been fine with me. You know.
Yeah, I loved Chris Brown. How you doing, buddy? I don't know if we said hi to him yet. No. He just dropped in. I liked how when that came out and there was a lot of people, that wouldn't happen. Like they didn't like the way they made it work. And it was like, hello? It's a giant monkey and a giant lizard?
Right.
I'm like, the fact they even tried to bring some realism to it is like kind of like the Meg. You know, they bring like a little bit of science to it to make it seem like this could happen and be like, well, that would never happen that way. I know. Anybody seen Moonfall? Hello. So,
what I like about Kong Skull Island, I mean, there's loads of good stuff in it, but as an Atmos demo, right from the beginning, you can hear the planes moving around the room.
Yeah.
You can't see them. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. That's a just pure sonic kind of show off. I mean, if you're watching that on a stereo TV, none of that means anything to you.
No.
But if you're watching it in Atmos, it's moving right around the ceiling. You know, you can hear these things before you can see them. I think it's great. And then the bit where you first see Kong slamming his hand down and just the room just goes bananas.
Yeah, no,
it's a really good film. I've got to go back and rewatch them ready for the new one. I really do need to do that. I've got them all in 4K. I can't wait. Any excuse to watch those when I can fit them in amongst all the horror.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I wish we had the time to do the other
these
one.
used to be considered horror movies, so
Yeah.
they fit right in.
They
Because
did.
these used to always be on like the Creature double feature and those things. It was always Kong and Godzilla and
Was that local to us, John?
Probably. I mean, I'm
Channel
sure
56 or 38 or something.
I'm sure everybody had a similar Saturday afternoon thing like that. But yeah, for us, it was Creature double feature on Saturday afternoons.
Yeah.
And every Saturday.
Look, Creature features are great, you know, and they go back to, you know, obviously Godzilla and the guy in the suit and Jaws and all those kinds of things. And, you know, they're all great.
Well, and these were all the old black and white movies. You know, they were all the old black and white movies.
Chris in the chat brought up a great point. I apologize. I don't know what scene he's saying. The bass is incredible in that scene. Which one we were talking about?
Probably the hands.
Okay.
Is what we were
so
talking
he
about.
says the bass is incredible in that scene. Then his next, he says, so lacking on the HBO stream though. And then he says 0 LFE on the stream. And that's a great point. I'm wondering how much of that actually gets squelched in the stream. And that could be part of like why the dynamics just aren't as good is maybe that entire 0.1 just might not even make it, you know, because it's like, all right, We won't even put that in the stream. You still get good bass, but you're not getting that extra low frequency effects that would actually help, add to the dynamic. So it's interesting.
Well, I'm going to have a comparison between Disc and Max here in a little bit. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
Oh yeah,
All right.
yeah. Sorry, I'll just tweak what you mean by that, John. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, desk.
You ready for the next one here?
Yeah,
This is the one that I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Vampire in Brooklyn from, oh damn, what was this? 95, I think it
sounds
was.
about
I
right,
forgot to write it down.
look.
Eddie Murphy, Angela Bassett. It's a Wes Craven movie. And have either of you seen this? And if you have you seen it recently?
I haven't seen it recently. I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen it, period.
Yeah.
But I imagine because it's Eddie Murphy, I probably did back in the day.
I did.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it.
Yeah, I have seen it once and haven't seen it since, and that was around about the time of release. I remember it being because Eddie Murphy went through a bit of a fallow patch, shall we say, where some of the movies he were doing was perhaps not quite to the standard of some of his earlier work.
Right.
And from what I remember, this is one of them. But as I said, I've only seen it once. Wasn't
What,
this
the
around-
Golden Child? What you're saying? What?
That was 80s.
See, no, I like The Golden Child.
So did I. I liked them
years
all.
before. Yeah, but what about Boomerang and
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I love Boomerang. That's hysterical. That's
man.
hysterical. Boomerang, and then where I kind of dropped off a little bit is where he kind of went over the top with the multiple characters, where it's like he played like 10 people in the movies.
Like Nutty Professor.
Yeah,
those
and
things,
it's like which was kind of but it's a remake. But this one, I think I saw it on Twitter or something. I saw somebody made a comment about it, and I was like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen." And it was one of those, and like I said to you guys, this is why I love doing this show like this, because it's like just whatever just strikes you. Let's just watch that, right? And I still have, and I forgot the name of it again. I bought probably 6 other horror movies this month, and Jen and I never got to them. And then this one here, I was like, I'm watching it. I bought it and watched it one night, and I was up, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. And Kadeem, is that
Kadeem
it?
Hardison?
Is it? I was gonna say Harrison, but yeah,
Hardison.
yeah. And he was on. I think it was
Different
that
World.
Different World, which was the Cosby spinoff or something. I think when they were in the college.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like the same person in this one, but if you remember the movie, he gets like quote unquote killed early on, so he's decaying throughout the movie. It actually looks really good, like the makeup, the special effects from 95. But it starts off, and the opening scene is a ship coming into the Brooklyn port.
Ooh,
And
is it the Demeter?
Now
It's not the Demeter, is it?
I don't think so, but that would be funny.
Cool
Should
if it
be.
was.
Would it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. No, because I forget exactly, but I thought he came from like Haiti or something like
The
that.
Caribbean. Well, it says the Caribbean on your little blurb here, so
Oh, okay.
Caribbean vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he, the ship's coming in, and you don't get very high. I watched it on Kaleidoscape. It's in Blu-ray quality. I believe it was, I know it was 5.1, but it might have been Dolby. I forget off the top of my head. It's in the notes. Or DTS, whatever. But I upmixed it, of course. The sound was really good, but back to the picture, when you're first seeing that, it's a dark scene, lots of fog. Some of it you can see is like digitized fog, and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't going to play too well. I'm like, it might not age too well. But once you get past like probably the first 2 minutes and the ship starts crashing into stuff, and then they just go to live shots, it looks really nice. The nice depth in the black levels. It was like surprisingly good. Maybe that was because the opening scene I didn't have high hopes for. Not a lot of grain in this. It wasn't grainy at all. lots of detail, the skin tones, costumes, the hair, makeup, like I said, the shadows. And when I say the skin tones, when you look at like Angela Bassett and then any other guy in the movie, and you're just like, oh my, she's like porcelain. She's just beautiful. And then they'll go to like a close up of Eddie Murphy and you're like, there's like pores. You can see everything, right? But it's a guy, right? And then later on, Eddie Murphy, like when he changes, like he'll like transition a little bit, or towards the end, he really transitions, and it's heavy makeup as a vampire. And you're just like, okay, that's not real, but it's still just, it's fun. And like I said, Kadeem Hardison, as you said, John.
Yeah, Kadeem Hardison.
Yeah, it's so good. There's an opening line. I think I put it on Twitter. I don't want to say it here, but he gets thrown out of his like townhouse by his wife. He's like, "Hey, baby,
Robin Gibbons.
I don't think it was it. Yeah. And he's out on the sidewalk. He's like, "Hey, what?" He's like, "Everybody snores." And she's like, "Not while there," and you fill in the blank. It's so fun. I like burst out laughing. It was, but there's little like lines like that throughout. But the sound, nothing major. Ambient sounds, lots of nice ambient sounds. Especially there's one scene in the police station. You can hear people talking all around you. There's cool scene of sounds coming from the right side as like Angela Bassett looks off screen to the right, and then it progresses. You'll know it when you see it. It's very pronounced. It's pretty much like the only one that you'll be like, what the heck? And she's talking to it off to the right side of the screen. So that was really cool. But I had a lot of fun with it. If you like Eddie Murphy, and it's a fun vampire movie, or as they say on #Dork, Dracula movie. Yeah, a lot of fun home theater experience, and I'm glad I did it. I really am. It was pretty good.
I had forgotten it existed. I completely
I know.
forgotten that movie.
Yeah.
Just kind of yeah.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy plays a few different characters in this one. Plays a reverend. And that's a funny scene because he's trying to convince everybody, because he's the vampire, but he's trying to convince everybody that evil is good. And he's like, evil is good. And he's doing it as like a like reverend. And he's like, if you don't have evil, you can't have good. So evil must be good. And he keeps doing all that. And he's like, evil is good. Ass is good. Get yourself a piece of evil ass. That's really good. It's so funny. So great. He also does an Italian guy, which is straight out of, I think, Raw. And it's when he does his Rocky thing on and he's like, yo, and he's like doing it is hysterical. And I don't think you could do that one today. It's pretty bad, but it's so funny. And he's all made up in white makeup. He looks like an Italian guy. And he's supposed to be, I think, a mobster or something in New York. And he's just like, oh my God. It's so great. So great. Lots of fun. So, all right. You guys ready? I don't even know which. Oh, Steve, you're up next.
Okay. What do we got? Lay it on me. Remind me. This is funny. This is funny. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen with this one.
All right. Here we go. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Okay. So I'm taking it from this. This is Ghost Dog. The Way of the Samurai. I'm taking it from this. I know Deej has never seen it or heard of it.
Oh.
What about
I was all excited.
No, I have not.
Okay, all right. Well,
Not seen it.
first things first. It's got nothing to do with Halloween.
Right.
Ghost Dog is the name of the character. It is not a ghost or a dog.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So this is a movie that I had heard of and kind of knew about, but had never seen it. And it came out here on 4K disc early last week, I think it was. And this is a movie, it's a very unusual kind of film. This is a martial arts kind of mafia drama. Okay, very strange mix of things. It's a bit like, the various genre things on Unhinged. where they had, malicious and, threats and all this stuff.
Mm.
It's a bit like that. It's a really strange mix. Forrest Whitaker plays the aforementioned ghost dog, who is saved by a mafia gangster and then feels that he owes him a debt. And he is, Forrest Whitaker is, it kind of follows the samurai way. And he does martial arts, sort of. So he feels he has a code and he owes a debt. And so he's been this mafia hitman for a period of time. And then something goes wrong and the mafia decide to come after him. And it then follows kind of him staying one step ahead of them, also getting his own back to a certain extent. It's a very strange movie, but a good one. And well worth seeing in terms of the film. Now, the 4K disc, bear in mind, this is the first time I'd seen it, so I had no frame of reference for this, but it's a really good quality disc. It's a Studio Canal release over here, same people that did U571 and things like that. And the remaster, because this movie is going back now as well, it's 1999, this, so this is 23, 24 years old, and it looks really good. The grain is almost non-existent. There are no print speckles, no issues with any of that. And it looks really good. It's only in DTS HD 5.1, but upmixed. And again, it sounds good. The soundtrack has been done by RZA. And so, of course, it's all very hip hop. It's all kind of 90s hip hop stuff. And that sounds great because there's a lot of bass to it and everything else as well. So I thought it was good. It's a really solid movie, this one. And I think it's a movie that a lot of people have seen and really like. And so it's good that I finally experienced it this way. So I'd recommend it, but it's not perhaps what you might think it is. I'd recommend, if you haven't already seen it, see it and, see the trailer first. And then if you like the look of that, then pick it up. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, I'm glad I've seen it. But yeah, nothing to do with Halloween.
No.
Cool.
Nice. How would you rank it as far as when we did our martial arts?
Oh, it's not like that. There are no kind of, bizarrely, Forrest Whitaker does some sort of kata with swords and with knives and stuff. But in terms of, he never goes hand to hand. Everything's just with guns, which isn't very samurai. And also neither is this idea that he's an assassin. Samurai weren't assassins. They were open field warriors. They'd want to meet you face to face and fight because they thought that was honorable. It was the ninja that were the assassins. This is this thing. So none of it quite makes sense. But so it's not, and so don't buy it as a martial arts movie. Buy it as a drama, and Forrest Whitaker is very, very good in it. But yeah, it's a strange movie, as I say. It's an odd film, but hard to compare it to anything else because it's so idiosyncratic. There's no other movie that I could say this is exactly like that, at least not for me. So yeah, but really good. Really enjoyed it. And again, looks like the people in the chat that have seen it liked it as well. I think Carl likes it. Jordan really pleased as well. So yeah, that was good. Yeah, and what we're seeing, guys.
Carl's saying he went to the premiere. I'm assuming for Ghost Dog, not for Vampire in Brooklyn. So
just him and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we sure? Are we sure that Carl is not just Eddie Murphy in makeup?
Could be.
Never seen it.
Nope. I'm done with that. You know what that means. Jordan says, I'm so happy that Ghost Dog has finally released on 4K and Blu-ray in the UK. Forrest Whitaker is one of my favorite actors who I think is incredibly underrated. He's one of those, I wouldn't put him in what do we said Denzel Washington, we think, and I'm trying to think of some other people. I wouldn't put him in that category. But
I think he's a character actor, really.
Yeah, he's a great secondary in a movie, right? I think of him in Good Morning Vietnam, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's but he's a great secondary in a movie. I don't know, has he been a lead? Was he wasn't a lead in this.
Well, he is in Ghost Dog. He's a lead in that.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, and there was that one where he was the butler or I can't remember. I've never even seen it, but I just know that he did.
It's not called The Butler, not that one.
Was it The Butler?
Yeah. Well, there is a movie called The Butler, and there was where it goes through the various presidents, doesn't it? And Alan Rickman plays Reagan, doesn't he? If I remember rightly. Yeah, I've only seen it once. It was really good. But yeah.
Look, but...
But yeah, so I
That
recommend
one where
this.
he was the butler. Yeah, the butler.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sounds like we're
Give it away.
talking about like the theme to Seinfeld for one
Right.
season. Like, oh, they're gonna make him your butler.
Yeah,
A lot of
that was,
butler talk today.
2013.
There was that one movie in the 90s about dinosaurs. It was set in this Jurassic Park, but I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was called.
Yeah, I think it was the Jurassic period. I forget. It's like I don't know. It was a zoo or some kind of park. I don't know.
Yeah, man. There was this shark.
all-
It had big teeth. I think it was called
Yeah.
Jaws or something.
Welcome to my brain. It's like I got the files. I just don't know what order to put them in. And that's if I get the files.
I've never seen it. I was good just to remember it existed. So.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
It's,
There
it
you
is
go.
good. It's
Good
actually
for
I've only
you.
seen it once. I've got the Blu-ray of that, and actually it's really good. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Rickman's playing Reagan. I think he is, and it's actually a really warm,
wow.
well-told film. It's a bit like
Oprah
Forrest
Winfrey.
Gump. Oh, it's got an
Wow.
all-star cast.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's the guy that directed Precious, I think.
John
can't remember his name,
Cusack,
but yeah, it's good.
Richard
Just-
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
We-
yeah, so I recommend Ghost Dog, but as I said, it's not a Halloween movie. Don't let that fool you.
Yeah.
But it is worth seeing. I don't know if it's out in 4K over there yet. Whether it's going to come over, I don't know. But don't go importing it, guys. Watch it first. And really like it, then import it. Otherwise, because it is such an unusual.
when I
movie.
run out of content, I'll import it.
yeah, I was going to say that's going to be a little while. then, but
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, we ready to get to this next one?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna
right. Just I'll be back. I'm
yeah,
just gonna
well,
be-
actually, I would no, Steve, you go. I'm gonna practice for Saturday, and I don't have to go use the bathroom, but I might as well try. I'll see what it's
No,
like.
well, make sure you turn off the microphone and the camera,
Yeah.
Deej. We're going to go
No.
right there.
Oh, I'm taking the camera with me.
Take it
All
down.
right, here we go. Why?
Oh.
Why?
All right.
Why?
Let us clear. Which one of the three of us has watched it?
Well,
Are we guessing?
That won't know.
It
you
wasn't
get,
DJ.
you get 3 guesses, and you can eliminate one. And for the audio folks at home, you can guess what movie we're talking about. Come on, people.
So, Evil Dead Rise.
Say
I
it again for the
watched
people in the back. Like
Evil Dead
Dead Rise.
And there was a lot of Evil Dead Rising in this movie, I must
Now,
say.
don't go there
Oh.
again, John.
So
Don't
this
do
was
that
the
again.
this was the 4K disc. I watched this a month and a half
Oh.
or so ago on HBO Max. They put this disc on sale for $10 the other day on Amazon, and
I wonder why.
I scooped it up along with like 3 or 4. They had a $10 sale, and I got like five movies for $10 a piece. This was one of them. So I watched it last night. Of course, again, 4K disc, Dolby Atmos. I thought the stream on this was pretty good when it comes to the Dolby Atmos presentation. This disc was amazing. I mean, it was amazing. I thought the Atmos on this was starting from second one where you get the fly in the credits, and then you're on the dock with the drone, and then you've got the books, the record. I mean, just everything in this in this movie when it comes to the track, I thought was fantastic. Video wise, I thought it was pretty comparable. If I remember right, on Max it was in Dolby Vision. On the disc it is not. I thought picture wise it was pretty comparable, but the audio on this I thought was spectacular. And so, yeah, I know we've talked this movie to death. I'm not going to get into the merits of the movie. Although, DJ, I think you need to get on the bright side of history on this one because
Why?
Oh God, I'll get under the desk.
What does
Where
that
is
mean?
I'll be back, guys. You just let me know. Just send me a message. I'll come
I
out.
don't, I don't even get what that means.
Oh no,
it's a
Okay.
play on words. I'm sure you've heard "get on the right side of history" before. You've been alive for 53 years, so
Oh yeah. So
yeah, so
okay.
the bright side of
Uh-oh.
history. That was just
okay.
a pun that I guess went right over your head. But
John, stop putting the
No,
pin.
but I'm like,
Stop putting the
it-
pin.
yeah.
here.
This is where it gets fun, people.
Yeah.
So for me to be on the bright side, I got to be on your side.
That's right. That's the bright side.
Oh, so wait a minute. The guy that founded the bright side.
Oh, not
Is
on
it
this
the
movie.
bright-
You're not.
Well, in my opinion, it is. That's the bright side. I didn't like it, so like.
So, anyway, we're not going to go there on this. But this is a
We're not gonna-
fantastic
he
disc.
throws the dagger into the shoulder and goes, "We're not going to go there now. I don't want to fight with you, but just pull that out and we'll go on."
Yeah.
Steve,
Can I just say,
Steve is getting so nervous.
I know.
we
it's
gotta
like
bring.
we're-
We gotta bring this. We gotta bring this to full so people can see
Why?
the full expressions. Because John and I are just having fun,
yeah.
and
Man,
Steve is like
Oh.
itching.
Steve's getting ready to hide under
man,
the table.
You want to keep going, John? Really make him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
On-
Like I
on
said,
Halloween?
we've discussed the merits of this movie ad nauseum for like 4 weeks in a row. I think. On
To which
this
there
show.
are none.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
this is a reference disc when it comes to audio. I
Yes.
thought this was really, really good.
Yeah.
Whatever you have to say about the movie, you can't deny that the disc
Right.
is incredible. And
And
I think
I think
everybody
if-
has seen
I-
it
I
in the
said
chat. So,
Yeah.
because we've talked about it a bunch of times. But
I see. It's a shame Travis isn't in the chat because Travis watched it recently on Kaleidoscape, and he
Okay.
had an absolute blast. He loved it, and both the audio, video, and the movie itself. And
Yeah.
beforehand, he was like, "Steve, is this any good? Am I going to like it?" I'm like, "Oh, you are indeed." And he blew him away. Really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I don't want to. We're obviously going to have our review of the year at the end of the year about kind of favorite films. But to me, this will be my Northman. I think this year, if there is a better home theater experience this year. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. I have
Yeah.
seen the other one of those, which we'll
See,
talk about next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, I think, is going to be interesting because, especially, I mean, in this group here, Travis doesn't like. Speaking of Travis doesn't like variable aspect ratios, but I think this group's pretty good with them, right? Nobody here hates them. If anybody, it was me, and most of it I don't like. But in this movie here, it's like, I mean, I love
could
it
do
in this
without
movie.
it, but it doesn't ruin
Yeah,
the film.
but
for
you
me.
don't hate it,
Yeah, it
right?
doesn't ruin anything for me.
Right.
But I could do without it.
Yeah.
My thing with Oppenheimer is going to be whether I see it first on 4K disc or whether I see it with Chris Nolan, because right
know.
now there are moves afoot to see it.
I know.
with
Uh,
his personal print.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which would be awesome.
Chris
I've
Nolan.
heard the personal print is fantastic.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
quite. So that's
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Had that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
One of those two, whichever's first. But
Mm.
the point I'm trying to say with Evil Dead Rises,
I
I
know.
will be surprised if there is a home theater experience, and I include the film in this, not just the experience. I will be surprised if there is a movie that I enjoy more this year in my cinema room than that. I loved it, and as
Yeah.
I said at the show, I'm kicking myself because I didn't think of it as well. And when
Yeah.
John put it up, I didn't have time to then watch it because I any excuse to rewatch this. I absolutely
Yeah.
love this
I'll
movie.
pull it back
Yeah.
up again.
It-
To be fair, too, it's like a lot of people that I've heard a lot of reviews on it, and the people that like love it, they
Mm.
like John. You've seen the other ones too, right?
I've
like-
seen. Well, I've seen the.
I've never seen one.
I've seen Evil Dead. I've seen like Ash, Army of Darkness. But
Okay.
I know there was some other ones kind of in between that I didn't see. Like I didn't see the remake of Evil Dead, which was a couple years ago, I guess.
2013, Evil Dead
2013.
2013.
Oh, so I
Yeah.
guess
So
it's
that,
10 years.
that's one to trick out.
Which
John.
I haven't seen. I haven't seen that one, but I was always, I watched the Army of Darkness series on show. Like I've always kind of been into it.
Okay.
But this is not really that. Other than the fact that you have the Necronomicon existing, these are not really the same movies.
Yeah.
Ash versus the Evil Dead was very much a horror comedy. This is not that. This is
Right,
not-
but
this
just
is
that
not
word
attempting
you
to
just
be
used,
funny.
I've never heard that till you said it. You know, so I'm
'Cause I
not
don't
in
think
the
they used it-
universe.
I don't
right?
think they really used it in this movie, but
No, but
you know what
right.
it is.
But what I mean is, like, Jen and I are sitting there watching it, and we're like, "What the? We don't get. There's no backstory to us. We're like, why is any of this happening? We didn't like." From beginning to end, we're like, what the heck was this about? Nothing. I mean, to us. So, like, everything you just said explains a lot of that. Just seeing any of the other movies, having a familiarity of the universe, I'm like, we had none of that. So I'm just like, this is just gore for gore's sake, which is kind of why I never got into that into this series, anyways. That's not my kind of horror, gore for gore's sake.
Now, to be fair, Lydia walked in the house last night at about the, I don't know, last 10 minutes or so, 10 to 12 minutes or so of this film, and was just shaking her head, like, because it was just covered in blood. You have this like 8-arm concoction or thing crawling around, and she was just shaking her head, like, "What are you watching?" But you know, if I just walked in with 12 minutes to go, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Now, again, we differ because I feel like this was very self-contained. Like, I feel like everything you needed to know for this movie was in this movie. I don't think the fact that you didn't know the book was called the Necronomicon has anything to do with that.
There he is.
You know.
Sorry about that. I just had to take yours down.
Yeah, okay, Mark V,
I literally was just thinking of Mark V because of this. I'm like, we haven't heard from him in a while. And I'm like, is he okay? Has he been around? And there he is. How you doing, buddy?
He's on Twitter all the time.
Yeah, he was tweeting earlier today.
I'm not keeping up. I can't. It's I haven't been like, if you DM me or it's like you say hi to me, I'll keep up, but I haven't been on like the main part of Twitter. So Mark V, nice to see you're still around. He says, hi, what's up, HT fam? Nice picture. This wasn't for you, but I thought of you.
Yeah, I think Evil Dead 1 is kind of is straightish horror. Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn is a horror comedy. Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness is a horror comedy, and deliberately so. Evil Dead 2013 is not. Very little humor in that isn't kind of real gallows humor. You know, where someone got their arm, they've just cut their own arm off, and they're like, "Oh, I've got a bit of an itch." You know, it's real gallows humor. And then this has got no comedy in it at all.
Flesh wound.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. Monty Python special, but it's really, really good. I think this film's fantastic for people that are into this stuff. You know, and
the home theater. I never argued that. I thought it was fantastic. The audio. I honestly, and I said it before, I wasn't as enamored with the picture as you were, Steve. I thought it was great, but I wasn't like, oh my God, this is an amazing, like, there weren't a lot of scenes where I was like, oh man, the depth, this and that, and the detail. It was really, really nice, but the audio was really, really nice. And even Jen was the same way. We were watching, we're like, that was pretty cool. That was awesome. And as a home theater experience, it was great. But as like horror movie, it's like, We've had other ones. I forget what it was, but it was like some hitchhiker movie or something we saw. This is like probably 20 years ago. And we saw it in the theater. And all of a sudden, like somebody gets hit in the road. And then this wing comes up and goes like it turned into a gargoyle right when it got hit. And we're like, what the hell was that? Like, where did that come? And we were both taken right out of the movie. We're like, it seemed like it was going to be more like The Hitcher. Right? Like a thriller horror movie. And then all of a sudden it went supernatural out of nowhere. And you're like, what the, not anything like, what you call it?
Jeepers Creepers?
It might have been Jeepers Creepers or something like that. But yeah, it was horrible. It took us right out of it. We didn't like that. So
in fairness, if it is Jeepers Creepers, that's the exact same effect it had on me. It's like Duel. And then it suddenly goes, like, just thing starts flying around, and at that point, I checked out of that movie as well.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, but it wasn't like From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah, no.
Which that one I loved. Saw that in the theater. And I thought I had no idea when I saw that in the theater that opening weekend. You had no idea what was going to happen.
It's just like a heist movie.
Yeah,
you know.
And then that does lock down.
You're like, what?
I'd say it's a 180, but you're like, I don't know what's behind me. That you can't say a 180, right? Because it's like it just goes completely different direction, which I thought was fantastic. I actually did watch that this week. I just didn't put it in the notes, but because we had a bunch. But it's fantastic. It's only in Blu-ray. It looked pretty good, but it's like at one point I was like, oh, is this 4K? I looked it up and I'm like, oh no, it's just HD. But the very high contrast, but it's very creepy too. Quentin Tarantino's character is just like, "Bleh."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and knowing kind of some of the things we know about him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Not too far off.
Yeah. Oh my God. And it's dead on. And this, I was like, oh my God. Now that back then we didn't know anything about that. But then as more of his movies come out, you're like, dude. And it's like, it's nothing wrong with that, but just don't put it in all your movies. I get. I'm not going to slight anybody for their picadillos, but come on, I don't need it in the movie. But let's get to Jordan Carpenter here saying I've left it up. The Evil Dead Rise is still my favorite horror film of the year. Absolutely amazing 4K disc. I can agree with the last part of that, Jordan.
That might be my favorite horror film of the year too.
Yeah, it's easily mine, but it's close to being my favorite film of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I appreciate there have been some very worthy movies this year, but the sheer roller coaster ride, ghost train, if you will. This is everything I wanted it to be and hoped it would be and more. And then Mark V says, I finally got the 3D drone with the disc.
Okay.
So,
the effect, you mean?
The stream. Yeah, because I think the stream didn't quite.
The stream didn't do it, but the disc definitely did.
I was just going to say, you like that, John? Yeah. That was a great open, and that's what's so much fun too. It kind of, for me, maybe it had the opposite effect, right? Because like I said with Vampire in Brooklyn, the Oscar-winning Vampire in Brooklyn, it kind of like it brings you in, it like lowers your expectations, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, this is really good. I tweeted out some pictures and stuff, and great vibrancy and everything, right?
Right.
Well, the opening to Evil Dead Rise is so great, and in that it really is like very immersive 3D audio that you're like, wow. And then you're like, and like I said, Jen was like, that was awesome. And we backed it up and did it again. And it sucks you into the picture too and gives you like, it makes the picture feel 3D going through like that, down that river and everything. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then you're like, as the movie plays out, you're like, okay, all right. Can you hit me something? Oh, okay. More gore.
I need another drone.
Yeah. Can we do something more? And I was honestly, and I did say this before, Steve, remember? I was honestly disappointed because you had said how gory it was. And right when the drone's about to strike, I'm like, damn it, they cut away. They didn't show it. The payoff wasn't there. And I was I had my eyes squinting. I'm like, oh no, here we go. Oh, wait, what? Come on, Steve. Come on, buddy. You told me it was going to be gory.
I'm sure that there is a cut somewhere of this that pushes it further. I'm confident of that.
Oh, so that's what we're basing movie of the year on. I know they didn't do it for us, but I'm sure they have it somewhere.
Well, the problem with these is
I'm sure Ishtar, if you get all the other pieces, is Oscar worthy.
Oh, I love this as is. But in terms
I
of
know.
gore,
I'm just joking.
The issue with the gore is that when it comes to tone and overall kind of delivery of these things, they're always pushing up against the dreaded NC-17.
Yeah,
and no studio wants to do that because whatever else you think about the movie, they spent money on this. And so they wanted to make money. Business.
Right.
Yeah. You go for an NC-17 and then that's the end of it, or an X-rated, that's it. So they've got to cut some of this for an R because the whole thing pervasive is, bear in mind, it's not a comedy. I think it's all gore. There's no comic relief in this movie. There's
barely any lines.
Well, indeed. Well, there's no pressure release though. There's no janitor to come in and go, oh, look at that mess. No one punches the kind of the seriousness of it. And so I think that they would have had a lot of problems with the MPAA and a lot of problems over here as well with the BBFC about its rating. So I suspect there was some of that there. But if you see Evil Dead 2013, that is more violent than this. I mean, there is someone who gets a bread cutter and cuts their own arm off. you know, and you see them do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of stuff. So that pushes it further. But I still think it is gory where it needs to be. But again, it's just the overall package on this. I love the film. I love the audio. I love the video. It's great. And again, spoiler alert, guys. But if this is not one of my number one, not one or two of the year, when we come to the end of the year, I'll be very surprised, and you'll be very annoyed.
No, we won't, because you know what? And that's the funny thing. It's
John
like
and I won't be.
no, I still have The Covenant as my number one because I absolutely love that movie. I love the movie itself. I love the home theater experience, the cinematography. Everything is, shall we say, enhanced by the home theater experience. So, and it's a fantastic movie. But I'm never disappointed when you find something better. Right. So like, Steve, if this isn't your number one, it's like you found something great. It's not like you'd be like, ah, crap, I got to do this crappy movie. It's like, no, it's like, that's what's so great about all this is like you start the year out and I don't know if you guys have done it, but I like to go back and look at like January, because sometimes recency bias is
You forget
brutal.
what you've watched. Yeah.
Yeah, and you forget how great some stuff was that came out at the beginning of the year and stuff. And that's why I try to go through and like when I came out with The Covenant, I was like, all right, this beats, and I forget what it was. I have to go back and look, but it's like I always keep that fresh in my mind, and I know, okay, is this one better than that? And so, but yeah. Don't worry, Steve. If you find something better, just means you have a lot of great stuff this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, John, how was that for Bright Side, huh?
That was bright.
There we go. Thank you very
Bright
much.
side of
I redeemed myself on
You
the
did. You're on the bright side of history.
right. I'm on the bright side of the history that I wrote, that I started. Like, imagine that. I'm sitting here. There's only 3 of us. So I'm getting voted out. Sorry, Deej.
So I'll
You're
take
done.
2-1. 2-1.
You're done. You're done. Sorry. Okay.
That'll teach you to bring
All
on
right.
two extra people.
Yeah.
All right. So John will be taking the first 8 hours on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, fun stuff. Oh, boy. Here we go. Oh, I forgot about this one.
Oh.
Oh, man. Who's heard of this? Who's heard of this? Who's seen it? Who wants to see it? Here we go.
Heard of it? Don't want to see it.
You don't? You're not even slightly curious?
Not after the reviews that I've read.
See, why do you do that to yourself? You might be missing out on some good stuff.
Yeah, but there's so much stuff that I know is good.
I saw
and
Evil
there's
Dead
only so
Rise.
many hours in the day. Exactly.
All right.
So,
For the audio people in their cars on Friday,
Is this already out on Kaleidoscope?
it's on Kaleidoscape. I think it's out for rent too. We're talking The Exorcist Believer. So a father seeks the help of an exorcism survivor mother when his daughter and her friend show signs of a demonic possession. Ooh. So Jen and I watched this.
It's telling Deeds that it's next to Expendables 4.
Yeah.
Well, it's alphabetical. What do you want me to do?
Well,
Now, to be fair, I really did I was keen to see this. So,
Yeah.
Tell me how it was.
It's a great home theater experience. It is. I'm telling you, it is a great home theater experience. I was listening to hashtag Dork today, and they were talking about Fall of House of Usher, and they were talking about how many jump scares were in that series, which is 8 hours, right? So almost every episode of that, you get a good
There's
jump scare. Yeah. So you're getting 8 of them.
Yeah.
Jen and I in this one, I jumped probably maybe like 3 times. Like legit was like, oh my God. But Jen, I mean, literally came out of her seat on a couple of them. And she's laying back. She's not sitting upright like me. She's laying back, and it was like somebody said clear and hit her with the paddles. She was like, oh my God, that was awesome. And there are some legit jump scares in here that were just so much fun. And it's audio, it's storytelling, not storytelling, but the way you make them. You know how like you set up a jump scare? So if you're familiar with horror movies, you can, yeah, Carl's just been cut to 30 seconds.
What did he say?
The power of Christ compels me to never see this. That's Carl Ellsworth.
I'm with you, Carl.
Yeah.
With you, Carl.
But yeah, it's a sequel to the original. It's another one in the line, and it brings back the mom, and Reagan comes back. The mom comes back. Whatever her name was. And it's actually the same actresses and everything. So it was really, that was kind of fun. But the story itself, Jen liked it. Jen liked it a lot. I thought I liked The Exorcist better. It's just the original. This one here got really it's just okay, it gets over the top, kind of hokey. They get a whole group of people. You're just and I thought the setup was a little slow as well. They took too much time. Remember a couple weeks ago, I forget the movie that I was, Christine. Remember I said there was no universe building? They did none. This movie, they built they could have built 10 universes. It took so much time setting it up. And you're just how this happens, and it just, that took a little too long. But then once you got into the home theater part, the Atmos was really, really good. The picture was really, really good, really nice, because they do some, I don't know you guys would know better. This is your genre, but they drew the chalk lines on the floors and put the chairs in, strapped up. Yeah, they did all that stuff. It was just short of a Ouija board. But whatever they were doing, and it's but it looks really nice. And like I said, the jump scares were really good. And it was I would be willing to bet you watch this, like you said earlier, Steve, you watch this in your living room with the stereo speakers of your TV, you're not getting the jump scares. But it's the way they set it up. And what I thought was fun is I've seen many a horror in my day, right? Probably not as many as you, Steve, but I would say me and John are probably pretty comparable. Yeah, exactly. Steve's seen 3 since we started the show.
Right.
So,
Well, I didn't say.
he's got another screen going, and he's but you know how a jump scare is set up. There you go. I've seen you set up. You got more than one. You got
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the phone.
But you know how to set up a jump scare. You lower the volume. You take the focus to someplace else. It's all like magician sleight of hand stuff. And I felt like they did it in such a creative way. All right, I don't nothing to. Oh my God, there it is. They actually did it differently, so it kind of caught me off guard. So I thought it was kind of fun. But, so yeah, watch it. Well, I'm not saying it's a great movie. I thought it was fun. Maybe next October, give it a run, Steve, or January.
Yeah, I just Christmas Day.
Christmas. There you go.
You've had your
Right.
roast. Just chuck it on.
You open all your gifts, take the socks that you got that you're not really fond of, put them
them in
on,
your
and
ears.
put them in your, there you go. Put them in your ears and throw this on. It's
I mean, it was so savaged by the critics when it came out that again, with all this.
so
really
was the
good-
show.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah. But they were right. Anyway, but with this,
My first review. It got
Like
ruined.
listening to-
It's like Dolby
listening
Digital.
to,
Yeah, paint dry and Dolby Digital.
Dolby Digital. So there is so much great horror out at the moment. We are in the heyday of horror at the moment.
Right.
There's some amazing films this year and in recent years. And so you've only got so much time. Pick the good stuff. And so when something is absolutely savaged by all comers, you just think, well, okay, I'll skip it, and I won't waste my time on that. But maybe eventually I will. I mean, even Jordan. Now, Jordan is Jordan Carpenter again. In the chat.
We both just clicked on the same one.
Yeah. So Jordan in the chat. Now, Jordan, I don't think I don't mean this in a bad way, but Jordan loves everything. Okay, there is very little that Jordan doesn't like. And so when Jordan
It's
says,
like me.
after watching The Exorcist Believer on X Plus opening weekend, I'll describe it in 2 words: oh dear. Now that is damning with very faint lack of praise.
Yeah.
If Jordan doesn't like it, and he's very forgiving with this sort of thing, then steer clear is the word.
He's not liked a few other things. He's not liked a
Is
few
he?
other things. Yeah. Yeah, we've had some conversation. I think Jordan's like me. He just doesn't offer up if he doesn't, if he likes it, he'll tell you about it. But it's like obviously, listeners know from listening, they know there is stuff I don't like. You know, I just, you got to ask me. You got to dig it out. I'm not just going to come on the show and be like, here's a list of movies I hate. Like, no. So, you know, if you make me watch something, but you didn't, and you guys have never made me watch anything. I'm just like, oh, I was intrigued by what you said about it. So I give them a shot and then I'll tell you my opinion. But I think Jordan's much the same way. So, all right. I will take it down off the board now so you guys can stop being tortured. Because, you know, it's no Evil Dead Rise, you know. I mean, it actually had a story.
Few things are.
Yeah, well, quite. You had an hour and 40 minutes to subject yourself to The Exorcist Believer, or you could have rewatched Evil Dead Rise and realized how, you know, how great a masterpiece it is. Mate, come on.
Just really can't. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready for this next treat?
Yeah.
Trick or treat? Here we go. All right. Take it away, Stevie.
Okay, so this was the film we were going to do last week. Anyone last week
One of
wondering
them,
why
yeah.
I said we're going to do 2 Anthony Hopkins movies and we only did Silence of the Lambs? It's because
Right.
this was supposed to be the other one and we ran out of time. But I'm glad we took that time because there is quite a bit to say about this. Now, both of you will have seen this, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes, no?
I haven't. I don't
Oh,
think
really?
Jen and I
Not
saw
seen
this one. Yeah, no.
And yet, Silence of the Lambs is her favorite film.
Yes.
I'm
I
not watching it
honestly, I
next
can't
time.
remember. I honestly can't remember. We may have seen, I'd have to put it in and be like, oh yeah. You know,
I think
I think it
you-
might be one of those movies.
You would, I think, buddy, you'd remember because of the way this ends. I think you'd remember if you'd seen this. I mean, John, have you seen it?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, would I be fair in that? I mean, the way this ends is fairly
Yeah.
unforgettable, is it? Is it not?
Yeah.
And so I think you probably would remember, Deej, if you had. I mean, I don't want
Hey.
to spoil it because you haven't, but
Hang on a second. This is a great
go
one.
on.
Ian in the chat.
Good idea.
People still use TV speakers for sound. How awful for them. Yeah, but they're probably not
Lots.
listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Because and if they are, they're like, what are these idiots doing? What are they talking about? But yes, Ian, yeah,
Yeah.
people still do. I mean, we all know who they are. We all have friends that do it.
I'm married to one.
Majority
So
of
Right.
friends and family,
Yeah.
surely.
Yeah. It's like,
At least till we
Yeah.
get hold of them.
I don't think there's a display in my house. No, the one right outside here, the one my son watches down here is the only display in the house that we just run the TV speakers on.
Oh, my bedroom we run just the TV speakers.
I have a Sonos soundbar in my bedroom. I have Aras speakers and an SVS sound base in my living room, which, as I said before, I still haven't had an issue. I just actually, for the first time, I went upstairs. Not the first time I went upstairs. First time ever, I saw Jen using the subtitles. And she couldn't. She's like, that's something I can't understand. She's watching one of her stupid murder mystery shows. And she's like, she couldn't make out some of the dialogue. And that was the first time I've seen that. And I asked her, I go, does that happen often? And she's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. So, but anyways, yeah, no, I don't use TV speakers pretty much anywhere in the house except for that one TV.
I mean, I do in the front room only because, you know, it aesthetically, I would get told off if it, you know, if anything else is in there. So it's, you know, there is a place for everything and everything has its place.
I got to get Ara to
but-
make you some speakers. Aesthetically, they kick ass.
Oh, I
They
bet.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I'm sure. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen them, man. I saw yours. They look amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, if Ara's in the mood, he's coming over to Scotland soon, isn't he? I think he is. So I remember he said.
He was just over there. He was
delivered.
just over there over the summer. That was their vacation. Yeah, he texted me when he was flying over Boston. He's like, I'm
Wait.
flying over. I was like,
Yeah. So back to Hannibal.
yes, back to Hannibal.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
for that word from our sponsor.
I'm pretty sure you would have seen it. You'd remember
Yeah.
if you'd seen it. But so this is the direct sequel to Silence of the Lambs. Obviously, Thomas Harris wrote the book, which was famously the ending of the book was very, 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 very controversial. And I mean, it's different in the film, so I think I could probably spoil the book. In the book, Hannibal and Clarice Starling end up as lovers, and they go off together at the end of the book, which is a bit odd, bearing in mind the movie, The Silence of the Lambs. So
Little age
so
difference.
they've retooled the ending to a certain extent, not completely, and it caused a lot of problems. There were famously 16 drafts of the script before Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins signed on. And then there was another draft that Jodie Foster said, I'm not doing that. And she walked. So you now have Julianne Moore stepping into the shoes as playing Clarice Starling. And it's Ridley Scott directed it, and I think this is one of those movies people forget that he directed. And you've got Gary Oldman in it playing Mason Verger. He is unrecognizable in this movie. And the story carries on. So you've got a person who is a previous victim of Lecter looking for him. And you've got Clarice, who is dealing with her own problems in the FBI, but also Hannibal is still at large. And you've got the kind of this inexorable move towards finding Hannibal and what happens. So the film is really good. I've always enjoyed this film. I thought it's good. It's not The Silence of the Lambs. Nothing is. I mean, it's a different director. It's a different visual aesthetic. It's a very different story, but it's still a good story. It's still enjoyable. Hopkins is having the time of his life playing this, and you can see, I think, him relax into the role. He's having fun with this in Hannibal, whereas in Silence of the Lambs you can see him kind of still discovering the character, I think, in a great way, whereas in this he's got the twinkle in his eye. He is very much in comfortable shoes with this film. So it's a really good film, and if you haven't seen it or you don't remember seeing it, I would recommend you see it. I'll be curious to see what Jen makes of it, if Silence is her favorite. So, do that when you can. So that's the film. Now, in terms of the disc, so this just came out here, again, 2 or 3 weeks ago in 4K. It's a universal release. It's a back catalogue movie. And I was very wary as to how it would look. Ridley Scott is a visual filmmaker. He's the first one to say that. And I was unsure how it would look. I was hoping it would look great, but I hadn't seen it for a very long time. I had the Blu-ray and knew the 4K was coming, so I didn't revisit that. And you know how you mentioned previously, Deej, about when a film starts with Karate Kid, the movie starts, you're initially disappointed, and then it's sort of you just adapt to it. It seems that's what I found with this. I put the movie on and I was thinking, okay, how good is this going to look? And the opening few minutes is very soft. It's the black levels are not that great. There are some issues with the way it's presented, and so when it began, I thought, oh no, this is basically the Blu-ray. This hasn't actually really been done. And you get a little opening bit, then you get the credits, and then the movie starts. And once the movie starts, things really change. And suddenly it is crisp as anything. The grain which is there is really, really well resolved. It's not obtrusive. And it begins to look good. And then it looks great. And as it goes on, there are some absolutely stunning images on this. And I tweeted them out. If anyone wants to go back and look on my Twitter feed, you will see the pictures that I put up. Because, and again, this is one of those movies that once it really gets into it, you start just taking pictures. You could take, constantly pictures. There's so many to choose from. The close-ups on Anthony Hopkins' face, on the chap that's trying to find him in Italy, in Florence. It just looks absolutely incredible, and all these details are fantastic. Julianne Moore wouldn't thank the 4K disc authors on this, because you could see all her freckles, and it's really, really good. It looks beautiful once it gets going, and the makeup on Gary Oldman has never looked more hideous. I mean, it's just it twists your stomach as you're looking at it. And for those wondering, it's because Hannibal told him to cut his own face off, and he did, because he'd been given some drugs. So so he's a real mess. It's Halloween. So it looks great. The audio then is in DTS HD master audio, so upmixes really well. There's a nice shootout near the beginning. It's the only real proper action sequence, where you've got bullets flying, cars going all over the place, and really heavy bass as well. It's really nice, and upmix as well. And then there's an opera scene later in the film where the music is kind of soaring around the room. There's lots of really clever kind of crowd sequences, and you can hear the voices all around you as well. As a back catalogue release, I was really pleased with this, and it's well worth seeing. And it's only over here, it's $19.99, I think. So probably about the same over there, and well worth picking up if you're a fan of it, or if you haven't seen it and you like Silence of the Lambs, pick it up. Is it on Kaleidoscape Deej? Do you know? Any idea?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't looked.
Well, if
I'll
it's
look
in
at it.
4K, it's there. Then yeah, I would definitely give it a go. But yeah, it's very, very decent and well worth picking up. Whether to import it or not, I don't know. If it's not available over there,
This disc here is $20 on Amazon.
well,
I just
yeah,
checked.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, what a John. So if it comes down to a sensible price with another one of your $10 specials, if they do them with a group of them, then this would be well worth picking up. And again, like Silence, it'll look awesome on the 120-inch screen. It'll look amazing.
Yeah, I have it. Kaleidoscape has it. It's only in HD, but it's the 5.1. Same audio. But judging by how I'm not sure how much the 4K would. Sounds like it would upgrade it. It doesn't.
Yeah, it really. I mean, the detail levels.
Really?
On the HDR.
Okay.
It really does really show it off. Again, have a look at the picture on my Twitter feed. It's really nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
But again, be warned.
I just want to check it out just to see if I've seen it. You're like, I'll watch the first 5 minutes and be like, oh yeah, like I remember
the way this ends, Deej.
Yeah,
you'd remember this.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to give it away in case you haven't, but believe you me, the way it goes to a particular place that you're almost sat there thinking they're not going to do that, are they? And they do, and it is. I mean, and then funnily enough. This
Evil Dead Rise, is that where they go?
Well, yeah, but it's more icky in this, and you get because I didn't see it in the cinema, so this is the biggest screen I saw it on. And genuinely, the way they resolve this, my stomach was turning over. I actually felt quite nauseous at some of this because of the way they do it. You'll see what I mean. John knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
well, the holiday season is coming, so okay.
'Tis the season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it does relate to a special family meal, but it's probably not the meal you're thinking of.
No. God. Oh boy.
Yeah, even thinking of it's making me feel a bit queasy.
You're gonna have to cleanse yourself with some other horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be like, let's see.
Of them here.
Haven't seen Chainsaw Massacre in a while. All right. Look at
Hellraiser box set.
I was looking. That's another one I bought that I wanted to do. Oh yeah, Megan. I didn't do that. I didn't buy that one. I bought Hellraiser. I bought Talk to Me. I have that.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. I was gonna watch. Yeah, no, that's
a horror?
No, it's not a horror. I really liked it. More on that next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
I'm surprised you.
Yes, no, you loved it, and you loved it, and I'm like, hey, I'll give it a shot. So I bought that, and I figured Jen and I would watch it. It's but yeah, it was one of those we didn't get around to, but I mean, Jen and I watched a lot of movies this month together, so we're hoping to keep it going.
That one you can have a special dispensation to watch outside of the Halloween window.
Talk to me.
I want to know what you think of that, but just be ready for. You talk about jump scares. Something happens in that is about as brutal as it gets, and it will make you just go, "Oh my god, whoa!" So,
all right, you want to know one that I started that I couldn't stop, that I couldn't finish, and I literally got 5 minutes into it. Haven't seen it in many years. No, horror movie.
Wait, right, John, you guessing? Come on, let's guess.
Oh no, I don't know.
Is it
Paul Hurt would know.
An old film.
Paul Hurt. If Paul's still in the chat, he might have a guess. And I just couldn't. What's that? Old, very old.
And one you have seen before?
Oh, we all did when we were kids.
Questions. Animal, vegetable, or mineral?
Yeah.
Animal.
Cujo?
Nope.
Ooh.
Very close. Very close.
Cujo 2?
No.
Turner and Hooch?
No.
A9?
Nope. Paul's like, ooh, I'm thinking. Mika,
man,
buddy,
man.
Mika.
Started
But couldn't finish. Not because the movie's bad. That's the other hint. Come on, Paul.
Harrison Ford one.
Uh-uh.
Not the Harrison.
Well,
no,
it says
okay.
something to do with the Huskies, right?
Something to do with dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, The Thing.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding. There you go.
So the other Husky movie.
I couldn't.
So-
I mean, you know, I saw that when I was a kid. We saw it so many, and Jen's like, that's like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I started it without her, and I was like, oh, I wanted to put it in the list. And that opening scene, I was like, yeah, Paul. Oh, The Thing. I was just like, you know, the opening scene. It's not a spoiler. It's like they're chasing down the Husky, and every shot, I'm sitting there going, no, I can't, I hate it. I just hate. I know the movie, but I was like, I was actually gonna go get Romy, and I was gonna watch the movie with her and be like, oh, one of her, and I was just like, this is it's like it just all flooded back. I was like, I'm done, and I tried so hard to power through because Kurt Russell's awesome. The 4K looks fantastic. The sound is awesome, and I was just like, this is such a great. I see what everybody's saying, like it's such a great looking movie. What a great restoration, and I was just like, I'm ruining my day. I can't do this to myself. I'm like the poor, and I ended right at the scene when it's just before they're about to take off to go to the other site, right? And they go and they get the shot of the Husky underneath the table. I think it was a pool table or the ping pong table, and they get they come in on it, and it's like the only thing that was missing was Sally Struthers. Right. Like, oh, just give 10 cents a day and you could feed this dog, save its life. You know, I was like, oh no. And the poor thing with the blue eyes looking up at you. And you're like, I was like, I'm done.
Sinister. That dog looked absolutely, I mean, it's just a push-in shot on a dog. And yet somehow Carpenter makes it look so sinister.
Yeah.
The dog sat there. The dog could be thinking about anything. You know, we don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Thinking, oh,
they do the same thing in the other direction. They put a cage in front of it, and you're like, "Oh my god, that poor thing!" And you're like, "Next take," and the dog runs down the track. But it's and what I thought was great about that movie, to not that I watched it this week, but is remember we watched what was the we watched it this year, the one with and they had the wolves at the beginning with
Gray?
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Not brother. I didn't see that one yet.
Not the Gray.
No, I don't. It was with what's his name? He had the ski mobile accident. Wind River. Yeah. And they open that scene where you're feeling bad for the animals as the wolves, which look like huskies, right? And they take you out of it, and they do a great job of like, oh my God, I think it was like antelope or deer or something. You feel bad for them because the pack of wolves is about to attack them. And then, what's his name? Jeremy Renner, he takes out one of the wolves, and you're like, oh my God, now you feel bad for the wolf. But a second ago, you didn't want the wolf to do anything to the other one. You're like, oh no. So I thought that was like great how they set that up. Like 1 minute, that's the villain. Like, oh no, those wolves. And then the wolf gets shot, and you're like, oh, the wolf. And that's what they did in The Thing too.
Depends on what week of Wild Kingdom you're watching, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because if you're watching one Saturday and it's all about the wolf chasing the antelope or whatever, or the lion, you're all rooting for the lion. But then
well, they do it in Prey at the beginning of Prey with the different animals. It's basically the food chain,
right?
And then also, and you feel bad for the soft, cuddly. I think it was a mouse or a bunny or something. You're like, oh no, and then the snake. And you're like, oh no, and then. You're like, oh, the poor snake. You're like, oh.
So are you saying at the end of the Grey, or Wolf Puncher the movie, you're rooting for the wolf, are you, Deej, not for Liam Neeson?
No. See, here's the thing. It's like I always lean towards the animals because they don't know what's going on, and the poor animal. You know, it's like, and I even like I feel bad. People get killed in the mountains, and then they go up and they kill the mountain lion when the mountain lion was just doing what mountain lions do. And it's not like you just taught a lesson to the other mountain lions in the area. Like, oh, you don't want us doing that. I see. Okay, I won't do that. I know Steve over there did it, but I don't want him to. I'm not going to do it, right? It's like I always feel bad for the poor animal. It's just like, I was just hungry. Like I was wandering in my den. What do you want me to do? Food came to me.
But we have had an example of a delinquent animal this year that deserved what it got, the cocaine bear.
Yes,
So
right.
it
That's
will abuse drugs,
wasn't
kids.
that up for movie of the year before Evil Dead Rise?
Still
to be
is.
fair, I think it's like,
They're all there.
what are you pulling them out of a hat? Like, let me find the worst that I can do. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Vanguard just says there in the chat, the thing 4K is $13.99. Should I buy
Yes.
it everywhere? Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
It's a must own. I mean, it's
Oh.
a fantastic movie, and the restoration they did on that, like I said, the 5 minutes I saw was fantastic.
I had a great time.
It was so good, I shut it off. Like that dog looks so real. Like, no. Oh,
Yeah, there is a shot where the helicopter goes over where the dog does look scared and clearly is frightened.
he is at the
Cool.
beginning.
Yeah, you wouldn't get away with that these days. You wouldn't be able to film that now. I mean,
No.
that was 81, I think it was. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way the
81
American
or-
Humane Association would let you fly a helicopter over a dog and scare the thing half to death when you can see it. doing
Right.
That.
Well, I think
but-
nowadays they'd make they'd CGI that dog. Like
Yeah.
it would actually probably be better
Yeah.
because you could get closer up on it. No dog would be harmed, and you could even, give it some cocaine. So,
Right.
I mean, what the hell?
It worked for the bear.
I will say that the opening scene did not play well of the spaceship. That did not age well.
Well, yeah,
With the 4K release, you're like, seriously, did you just glue two plates together?
pretty much.
I mean, it was literally a flying saucer.
Yeah.
I think it was the same one that the aliens came out of to talk to Greg Brady in the Brady Bunch. It's like, what the?
The Jetsons.
That was, and another one that I was like, now I don't have high hopes for this.
Oh, but the Rob Bottin effects in that are absolutely bananas. I mean, they are still cutting edge even to this day, because of course there was no CG. So when
Yeah.
you get that's the spider head. When you get the bit that I always again, I saw that film way too young. I love the movie.
Yeah.
I saw it way too young. The bit with the where the talking about the paddles, the
Yeah.
CPR, and then the chest opens, and in goes. I mean, that is just absolutely phenomenally done, and all
Yeah.
done with latex and bits of glue and
Yeah, just like Alien, same
brilliant.
thing. It's and it is. It's like that's the stuff that John and I used to be like, we could try. Mr. Paul, can we duplicate this? Like junior high and stuff. Like, can we try doing this? And oh my God, learning how to use latex and stuff. And I had the question, or I answered the question, and #Dork put it out today about the favorite costume. And John, do you remember this one when I went as Freddy Krueger? And I went to Brendan O'Terry's house. So a kid we went to high school with, same age as us, his dad owned the funeral home in town. So I went up to Mr. O'Terry and I go, do you have any skin, wax skin that I could use? And he gave me a big tub of it, like this big. And he's like, just take this and melt it over your head. And he showed me how to do it. And I went over to my friend's house and she literally I put on a bald cap and melted this stuff all over my face. And I mean, I looked and then I just rubbed in some red just to keep it, give it that texture. Put the hat on, the sweater, and I made the glove. I was walking around that high school dance, and I mean, people were the girls were literally, it had the opposite effect. The girls were like, oh, they were running away because it was it was the exact same makeup they would use. And it was just melted all over my face. And I loved that costume. And it's, but that's what we love doing that stuff.
Sorry, wrong one. Someone came in late.
Yeah. It's DJ wearing a Spider-Man costume. Yep. Yes, I am. Go back when the stream's over. Go back to the opening. I couldn't see a damn. I had the whole mask on and everything.
And
Couldn't
keep
see a damn
watch
thing.
out for the confused look on John's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's funny is I couldn't see you, Steve. All I could make out was that wasn't your face. So I still haven't seen that. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, that to me it was all white. I thought you had a white piece of paper with the eyes cut out. I had no idea because I had the Spider-Man eyes. I couldn't see. So, but yes.
So Paul Hurt again talks about one of the memorable scenes in there, the blood test scene.
Yeah.
First time you see that. I mean, the film is absolutely awesome. You know, there is no.
It's a good thing I didn't put it in the show, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
We saved time.
Yes, yeah, but very, very good anyway. So yeah, definitely buy that, guys. If you haven't, it is a must own. I agree. I love
Yeah.
that film.
Yes, excellent. I'm glad I brought it up though, because I mean, it is a great movie. It just and I stand by. Like I couldn't finish it. Start it. I couldn't even start it. What am I talking about? All right, John, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
I'm interested in this. See what this is. Oh, what you have to say, what it's all about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm waiting for it to come up, but
Oh,
I
it
know
didn't
what
come
it
up?
is.
Okay,
no,
Bodies.
no, but this was Bodies. This is a series on Netflix. Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision. This was pretty interesting. I'm guessing since you've said neither one of you have seen it. It's kind of a murder mystery wrapped up in a sci-fi time travel kind of thing, but basically it's the same dead body shows up in 4 different periods of history, like 1890, 1941, 2023, and then 2053. Literally the same body in the same place. Takes place. Well, the body's found in the Whitechapel area in London,
Where Jack the Ripper famously
where Jack,
hunted
right?
Mhm.
And I mentioned that to my wife when they said that, but Jack the Ripper does not make an appearance. It has nothing to do with him. but yeah, and so there's a detective in each one of these eras that finds this dead body and are trying to solve the mystery of this. Well, kind of the future people are piecing together that this has happened before. So the show itself is pretty interesting. It's 8 episodes. I have questions. Like it's, if anybody sees it, and I'd be interested to talk about it because I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind some of the things that happened in the show. But that being said, it's definitely worth a watch. As far as the Atmos and the Dolby Vision goes, again, this is a Netflix series, so we know what we've come to expect with Netflix when it comes to their original series and the Atmos and the Dolby Vision. Both of them were excellent on this. And there was quite a bit of opportunity for the Atmos to shine in this series. And I think it was really nice. And the Dolby Vision, it looked really nice. So worth watching, I think. And, it's a pretty good experience for us HT people. But yeah, I'd be interested to see, like, if somebody has seen it, even on Twitter, we can talk back and forth, because I do have some. I was left scratching my head a little bit by the time this thing was all over with. So,
Yeah,
Can you tell me, in 2053, are there still criminal defense lawyers in London?
There's a quite courageous. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the thing too that I kept making comment of, because they have some technology in 2053 that I'm thinking we're not quite 30 years away from that being able to be possible yet. But then again, you never know, because technology advances so fast. But I'm like, man, it's only 30 years from now, and they're doing that, really? So I guess we'll have to see when we get there. Fingers crossed, we're all alive in 30 more years. But
Yeah.
I'm still sat here from our nursing homes doing our HD experience.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said,
All right, by then it'll be like, so Steve, did you get the TV on this week? It's like,
I
no,
couldn't find the
even
clicker.
hear
I couldn't. Yeah, damn thing won't work.
Yeah.
You're facing the wrong way, Steve.
Hearing aids wouldn't do it. Yeah, couldn't hear a thing.
But yeah, like I said, it's an interesting premise. The idea that this body is found in 4 different periods through history was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's what it said. Just the synopsis. It says in 2023, discovers a dead body while in 1941, 1890, 2 others find the same corpse.
Right.
So that's actually a pretty cool premise.
Yeah.
So
There's your elevator pitch right there, isn't it?
What's
Yeah.
that?
That's your elevator pitch right there.
Oh yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, it's right there.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right,
And they don't mention the future here in the synopsis.
Yeah.
But like I said, obviously they
Right.
end up in 2053 also.
yeah,
So
cool. Cool. That sounds very intriguing. Jen and I might check that out. Then you and I can have a chat.
Yeah,
You know, we
like I
don't
said,
talk
because,
enough.
and it's not that like some shows you watch and you're confused about like the events of the show. And I understand all of that. It's the motivation behind like there's ultimately one person responsible for this.
Yeah.
And his motivations I can't wrap my head around. Like,
And you're not a big fan of time jumps either.
I'm not. I'm not
Right?
really.
Like Foundation, are you still in on that? Like
No,
that
I've been
one?
out. I watched 2 episodes of season 2 and I was done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
All right. You good on that? We good on that?
yeah, good.
All right. We'll pull that down. Let me see what we got next. Oh, yeah. I'll be quick on this one for sure. Because we've talked about this in the past. But Jen hadn't seen this yet, so let me pull that up. When was the last time you guys saw this? Last Night in Soho, 4K, Atmos.
This year,
Yeah.
six or 7 months ago, maybe.
Great,
I saw it when
great
it came
horror
out.
movie. Yeah.
Mm.
This one was like a surprise hit for me last year. I wasn't expecting a lot out of the story. But I had heard great things about the home theater experience. So I was like, all right, let me check that out. And as soon as I saw it, I mean, I came upstairs after watching this and said to Jen, I was like, oh man, you gotta see this. And it's taken until now. And that was one we were definitely not going to miss this October. This was one that we were supposed to talk about last week. And, it definitely deserves one. I think it's a must own. I mean, it's another, what is it? Studio A24. Another one of they just keep that's the right one, right guys?
It is
think so,
A24 is a studio. I don't know if it is
Right.
the studio for this, but I know it's.
I think it is.
A24 is
I thought it
It is
was.
the right film.
Yeah. And I thought this was, maybe it wasn't, but
Yeah,
I thought this was one of the many from last year that we were all just like, holy crap. Because this was the story in it. You don't know where it's going to go if you haven't seen it. It's, what would you call it? A psychological thriller? Something
Yeah,
like
it
that?
is. Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd call this a horror.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh.
it's horror either.
I think it is a thriller. I think it's even a thriller. I mean,
It's gory. It's got some of that to it. It's got some supernatural to it.
Yeah.
I would definitely. That's why I threw it into the horror thriller genre. Because it's got some jump scares in it. It's got some gore, and the psychological thriller part which is the storyline to it. Which is, I just thought Jen loved it because she loves all that stuff, all that supernatural stuff that was going on, like kind of underscores the entire movie. But yeah, as a 4K, the HDR on this with the different time periods that you go back and forth, the way that the cinematography is in this is it's just fantastic. The lots of use of mirrors, spoiler free, lots of use of mirrors. So multiple viewings are very warranted, very entertaining because you see stuff that maybe you didn't know the first time because you weren't paying attention because you shouldn't have probably. And as the movie plays out and you watch it a second time, there's a lot of great detail, very vibrant colors. And like I said, the way they go through the different time periods that, and the way they shoot it. So which period you're in. A lot of good stuff picture wise to go with the 4K HDR, and then the audio in it, the music, the ambience, the slasher scenes, the gore, everything. It's all just enhanced. There's so much to it. I broke this down over a year ago, right? It was an entire episode I did on it. So definitely a great 4K home theater experience. And I think it should be, I think it's a must own. Because especially if you're into the thriller or horror genre, I would throw it in there. So
see, and if anyone watching it because when I saw the trailers to this, I didn't know what to make of it. I found the trailers a bit alienating. They didn't really draw me in. to want to see it.
Same here.
And it was a friend of mine that had seen it. I think before you said about it, Deej, although your breakdown of it was awesome as well. But someone had said, "Oh no, it's really good." And I sat down and I bought the 4K disc. Again, I hadn't seen it, blind buy, and I was entranced by it. I thought it was very, very well done. I mean, Edgar Wright's an incredible filmmaker. But it was very, very good indeed. And Diana Rigg is fantastic in it as well. It's really, I think, was it her last role? I think it might have been. She's very, very, very good in this. It's a great movie. And John's favorite, Anya Taylor-Joy, is in it as well. So
yes.
It's all good.
Yeah. Oh, it was a Universal release. Sorry about that. Jordan says, last night in Soho was such an incredible surprise for me, and it was a fantastic experience at my local cinema. It's brilliant to see it finding a larger audience now. It was a Universal release. So, sorry about that. I don't know why. I mean, that's
it
probably
does
the
look
credit
like
of
a
A20.
24.
Yeah, doesn't it? And that's why I was like, oh, it's got to be, I was like, but yeah, it was a surprise for me too. I didn't think it was one of those that like Steve said, the trailer, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it didn't do anything for me. I was like, what is this about? And I think that's part of the fun of it, because by the time you get into it, you're like, all right, well, I've heard good things about the home theater, and that's what drew me to it. And then you actually get the story and you're like, oh my God, that was fun. That was a great setup. It was a great story. And I thought it, even watching it multiple times, I thought it moved along really well. I didn't find it to be slow at any time, at any viewing. Really, really good. Really enjoyed that one. So, all right. Let's see. Who's up next? All right, here we go.
I'll be quick with this one.
All right. And I'll be quick with the last one too, because we only got like 10 minutes. But yeah. All right. You ready, Steve?
Yep. Let's do this. Okay. So this is Scream 3 on 4K disc and DTS HD 5.1. I'll be quick on this. It just came out here again a couple of weeks ago in 4K. I ummed and ahed about buying this. Jordan will tell you, because he was DMing me to tell me it had come out. And I was saying, no, I don't think I'm going to get this. But I did, because to me, this is by far the weakest of the Scream movies. And we talked about the issues with the fax machine on the house where all the power's gone. And sure enough, that scene is still ridiculous. I watched it. It's still the weakest of the Scream movies. And I realized this time why, and it's because this time it goes too meta. It's gone beyond the joke. It's gone beyond the knowing winks of the first and the second. This one has gone too far. And the filmmakers knew they did, because 4, 5, and 6 go back again, back to 1 and 2. It's too much of a jokiness, too knowing, too sort of winking at the camera, and it's weak. It was all right, but it's not good compared to the others. But there are people out there that really like it, and fair play to them for that. So in terms of the HT experience, it looks better than it ever has. It's a very solid video presentation. It does have an increase in detail level. The HDR adds a little bit to it, but not a lot. This is not a demo disc. You're not going to pull this out to show this off or show your system off, both the video and the audio. It's DTS HDMA. There are some surround bits. There's some nice musical cues that creep to the back of the room into the rear speakers. But it's a solid disc. This is your kind of your 3 out of 5 type sort of discs. It's better than the Blu-ray, but it's not one that really shows off 4K. It is cheap over here. Again, it's $19.99, comparatively cheap. And so if you're a fan of the film, pick it up. I will keep it in the collection, because it'll complete sooner or later. Scream 4 will come out, and then I'll have them all. So for completists only, I would say, or fans of the film. Oh, there you go.
Cool. All right. I have not seen this one in 4K. I haven't seen this one since probably the theater. And after you see it in the theater, you're like, oh, okay. It's like, the first two were a lot of fun, and
quite. And it's not
Jump the Shark, maybe.
I was going to say that, Jump the Knife. But it is this one, and it keeps talking about trilogies and the ending of the Scream franchise, and you're like, well, I know that's not, so it's even worse now, because you're like,
here's an interesting comment.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I see that. He likes 3 better than 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 is quite forgettable as well. But this one just seems to be very, very kind of. They almost literally wink at the camera. They've gone way too far. You've got, Jay and Silent Bob turn up. I mean, they're great characters, but what the hell are they doing in this?
Right.
It's very, very strange. But yeah, it is what it is. Most people have seen it, I'm sure. And if you like it, then it's worth picking up.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, and it also, these movies get the benefit of being like, you want to be a completionist, right? And if you're gonna get
right.
1 and 2, and then they pick up later on, you're gonna and you're enjoying the, you're like, I gotta have the set, right? So, and then you watch it and go, maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't need the set.
Oh yeah.
All right. Last one.
Oh,
Yeah. And you know what? I'd seen this when it came out on 4K. I haven't.
I say
even
you
brought
watched
the
this
image
again
yet.
because we just talked about this.
I hadn't seen it in a while. I
Feels
saw
like we
it.
talked about it not too long ago.
Yeah, but it's when I brought this up, and let's bring it up and let everybody in on it. Blade. So I had already owned this one. I had, because it was in 4K HDR on, Atmos on, I think the last time I watched it was on my Zapiti. And when I brought this up on the Kaleidoscape, and I may have watched this in the past without the Lumigen, because this time I'm just like, holy crap. Like, I thought it looked good before. But this here, I was actually going to do, and we don't have time to do it, but I watched this. I watched Underworld, and I watched Morbius. And I was going to do, I had a whole, I could do a whole half-hour show on those 3 movies. And, each one has, their benefits, right? And each one of them is, not as good as something in the other ones.
Only one of them has Kate Beckinsale. So
Correct.
That's all I need to
That's
say
my
about
boy right there. That's my boy right there. All right. So,
yeah.
oh my God. But what was disappointing is when you go back and you watch Underworld, which is also in 4K, I believe came out after this, correct? This was 98. I want to say Underworld was 2000, maybe
Yeah.
2001, right?
Mm-hmm.
The grain in Underworld. Now, Underworld looks fantastic. I love that movie. I watched it over and over. I love the series. I love the story in that entire series. I'm trying to get away from the term guilty pleasure because I shouldn't have to feel guilty about something I like. But I just love that story. I love the series. Every time they came out with one, I was like, oh my God, great, another one. Probably had a lot to do with Kate Beckinsale. But anyways, and there was one she wasn't even in, right, John?
Yeah, Rona Mitra.
Yeah.
was in it. Which
And I
was,
was like,
again,
I
a
still liked it.
worthy
A
substitute.
worthy contender. Yes, a worthy contender in the line. You got to own the set, right, John?
Right. Gotta have them all.
buddy.
I do have the box set.
Right. John came up here and visited, and we watched 3 movies. We watched 6 movies. We threw Hulk in the middle just for the hell of it. No, but yeah, but when you watch, so you watch Blade, it is so well restored, if you want to call it. It is from 98 that it's it is just absolutely gorgeous. And then you go and you look at Underworld and you're like, seriously, can we clean up some of that grain? Can you make it look a little bit more, make those deep blacks look just a little cleaner, not have the texture that they need, that the grain is giving it. And then you go to Morbius and you're like, Morbius is what, a year old? And it's got all the modern features. It's got everything, right? It is awesome. The sound in Morbius is just the Atmos that they use in those scenes at the end of the movie when he's using the sonar and stuff, and the way that reverberates through your room. It's like, oh man, that didn't even exist with Blade. But the picture in Blade is so close to being, they just didn't have the same color. Like Morbius is like a dark version of Thor Love and Thunder, right? It's bright. It's got lots of nice neon in it. It's a lot of nice colors. But Blade has none of that. And Blade and Underworld almost are monochromatic, except for when they want to show you blood, right? Or any color, really. John just dropped
John.
out. He's done. John, I'm tired of Blade. He said that when we started. He goes, didn't we just talk about this? No. Yeah. So I mean, Blade, I think it's such a great movie. It looks so good. It looks very, very modern, and it's such a great movie. So, and I think it's a great horror movie too, to go along with the Halloween theme. It's got vampires, Steve. That's the like historical horror movie, a Dracula movie, a vampire movie. They can't all be Evil Dead Rise. See how I bring that right back around for it? The professional that we are, we worked on it, and we even practiced the part where John drops out so he doesn't have to talk about Evil Dead Rise again. Where do you go?
I don't know. That's very strange. The trick-or-treaters lining up down the block, so he's he's had to go and
did he just? He might have just. Did he say that? He did say he had to get out at 7, but I didn't know it was that hard of an out.
Yeah,
we're like 10 seconds after 7:00, and he's gone.
So I think now I wouldn't call Blade a horror movie. I think it's a comic book action movie.
Yeah.
But I would call it a perfect movie. I love Blade. And this came out in the summer that I was working in a cinema when I got back from the US. I started working in a cinema, came out here a bit later than over in the US. And I saw this film 30, 40, 50 times, including the ending, because of course, as Should We Go In, as the movie is ending, John's trying to come back in.
There he is.
And I absolutely love this film. I've seen it many, many, many times. And all right, John, you okay?
Sorry about that.
So I thought you had to go and see to the trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, you said you had a hard out at 7:00 for the trick-or-treaters, and I was like, wow, he's not kidding.
Yeah. I'm
no goodbye.
They'll be coming by shortly, but
yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
So I
gotta go.
I know. No, we'll be done in a sec.
Yeah. So I think Blade is a perfect film, and I absolutely love this movie. I have the same relationship with Blade and Blade 2 as I have with Alien and Aliens. It's like, which is your favorite? I love them both. I can't choose between them, and I'm the same with these. I love 1 and 2.
Yeah.
3, dreadful. But
I love 3. I don't love it as much as 2 and 1 and 2. I think they're the better movie, but I do love. I just love how they they went kind of. Yeah, I know. Kate Beckinsale was already busy.
Yeah.
It's like, and I love Ryan Reynolds in that too. I like how they added that little bit of comedy to it too, and it's like, which I thought. Mistake. Yeah,
Sorry,
well, in your eyes.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't have brought Dracula into it because he's Dominic.
He looks like a great Dracula too in that movie.
Purcell?
I thought
Purcell.
Yeah. He is a charisma vacuum in that film, though. I mean, David Goyer wrote 1 and 2. I mean, he directed 3, but I just think they should have stopped at 2. But there we go. But 1 and 2 are fantastic, and I get that.
And that's
I know.
I wanted to get to 3 this week and I didn't even know John was doing Evil Dead Rise, but I was gonna just to turn the screws to you, Steve. I wanted to have a double feature of Blade and Blade Trinity, as it's called.
Yeah.
I bought them both. I already had 1 and 2, but I have Blade. Oh, it's not even. There it is. You can see it's right next to Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Blade Trinity. So, so there you go. So that's our week, everybody. And I have one horror. It is Halloween coming up. Jen and I are going to be watching this one later this evening. A Haunting in Venice. Have you guys heard of this?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's the third of the Poirot films. You had A Death on the Nile.
And
Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes, indeed. And then, which are both okay. And then this one though is different. It's not. I don't think it's actually a Christie book. It's more supernatural. This is more of a.
That's why I think
someone is a killer type thing. Apparently.
Yeah.
But,
that's why I think Jen will like it. It seems like something. It's got the supernatural part and the haunting, the whole thing. So it's a fun one. At 1:43, we're going to try to take that in a little bit. So that will be our Halloween night because our dogs are so crazy. We can't have trick-or-treaters, unfortunately, which is too bad. But I love giving out candy.
Yeah.
So, and didn't let me do it in the van anymore to the kids. So, you know.
That restraining order still in place, is it, DJ?
We were just talking about that at the restaurant the other day, and they're like, remember during COVID that around here we had like the trunk or treating, so like everybody go to a
they do
Walmart
that here too. Yeah, they do.
and
it
I'm
here
like,
still.
What's that?
how? Yeah, well, trunk or treating. So because apparently you could get COVID walking around your neighborhood, but if you gather everybody in a parking lot and you go from trunk to trunk of a car and you hand out candy, that supposed to avoid it. But I was like, never mind all that. I don't care. I get the idea. Okay. But how about we spend 364 days of the year telling kids not to take candy from people in cars? And then we line up a bunch of cars in a parking lot and tell kids, go
Well, but
nuts.
the other 364 days, you're not knocking on people's doors looking for candy either, to be fair.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the idea is just to have a place where kids can gather and
Well
get
lit.
candy.
You're not in the
Because
road.
now they do it
Yeah.
they do it in like the parks and things rather than going house to house.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we had trunk or treat in the parking lot of my store. Well, in our parking lot yesterday. That's the problem. That's the problem I have with it is they don't do it on Halloween. Like they did it yesterday.
Oh, they do it on the weekend?
Yeah. So it's like, oh well, now I got to give out candy twice. So,
That is
Oh,
something
yeah.
that's not hit here yet at all.
Yeah.
That is a completely new thing.
Well,
So,
see, we just
coming
brought
soon.
it to you, so there you go.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
thank
And I'm
Brightside
gonna
Home
invent
Theater
it.
for,
right.
yeah. So, all right. That will do it for this week. Steve's got one for next week. It's not a horror. It's are you gonna be able to take it in?
I don't know. I might.
You
I haven't
don't-
bought it yet, so I
I
know it's on I know it's on Max though. So
Yeah,
I, mean,
it's
I
I'll pull
could
it
do
up.
a podcast just on that. It is fantastic.
oh well,
There
then I
we
guess
go.
maybe
Yeah,
I'll buy it.
Barbie. Yeah,
And what I would say to you, John, if it helps to whet your appetite, it starts exactly as you think it will, and it transforms into something else.
Oh,
so
entirely.
fantastic.
I absolutely want to see it. Like I have every intention of buying it. I just was going to wait till it was $15 and not $30. you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah, it's I love the movie. I mean, we had a blast with it. I got my t-shirt, right? I'm Ken enough. I got my
Yeah.
t-shirt ready to go for next
Yeah.
week.
I mean, you don't
All
have to
set.
you don't have to convince me necessarily to watch it. I just
Yeah.
I buy
Well,
very
I-
few things at full price. when
Yeah.
they first
Well,
come out.
I bought this almost in spite of myself. I had no idea whether I was going to like this or not. And when I sat down to watch it last night, I wasn't sure I was in the mood. And I was talking to someone earlier today about it, and I was transformed. And I mean, I have to say at the end of this, we'll talk more about this next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a line in this that had me in floods of tears.
Wow.
And that is not what I expected from
Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is. Well, I can't wait to talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be good.
So,
Good show.
yeah, it's well worth it. It really is worth seeing. So yeah.
Oh,
on next
hey. This is going out on a high note. Finally. Thank you. Good night. Theo, thank you, buddy. Greatest show ever for me. Looking forward to seeing the 25-hour show. So, yes, thank you, Theo. Thank you for reminding me. I have that this weekend. I penciled it in. It's on my calendar. 6 a.m. Tomorrow night, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Tomorrow night, 8 a.m. Yeah, this Saturday is going to be fun. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Todd and I will be doing a quick 1-hour preview of the 25 hours of home theater. So we'll be doing that, and then hope to see everybody at some point. I don't expect people to be there the entire time, but I hope pop in, say hi whenever you want.
Thank you for that.
Well, I'm going to be starting, and it'll be, 10 o'clock your time? You'll be
Yep, 10 a.m.
done with your bacon and eggs or your tea and crumpets or
At
whatever the
least
hell
you
you have
got.
in
There
the
we go.
morning.
See, I thought you had moved on from crumpets, but
No.
you went back to that.
No, I go right back to that. Go right back to
Yeah.
that. So, all right.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Had a blast. A lot of great comments. And like I said, I've said so many times, we have a hard time doing the show 'cause I'm watching you guys. Like, I want to be in on that chat. So,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll see you this weekend. Have a great time. And what are you going to do?
Go push play.
What he said.
There we go.